Hello, everyone. Welcome. This is the Fantasy Alarm live feed. I am here with Mr. Howard Bender. Howard, you're already talking smack today. Yeah, you really did kick my ass.
Oh, I tell you, it's blinding, Brandon. I can't even see. I beat you by so many points. I feel like the sun is just shining down. Look, I even put on my Fish Tour shirt because I just feel like dancing around in the end zone like all my players did against yours this week, and I'm feeling good.
Yeah,
good.
Not my best team. Certainly not my best performance. In fact, actually, I think that league was my fewest points scored out of any league, actually. So I was like, of course, I'm playing my boss in this one. That would be what would definitely happen to me.
If you scored fewer points in any other league, Brandon, okay, that would have been an embarrassment. Like that, I would have been like, well, you only probably had two guys, right? You only started two players. Woo! I love talking a little smack here. Why not?
Freeman,
Come on.
Kenyon Drake. You know, it's so interesting because I was at the end, and this is a very big league. Wasn't it 14 people, I think?
No, 12-team league.
The 12? Oh, okay. So, I think, was I at the very end? I was in a weird spot. So I got Hopkins, and then I came back and I got Freeman, and then I got Drake. But those were like the best running backs available for me. They were all gone in this league. I just got screwed.
Well, I mean, listen, shout out to the guys over at the Garage Guys podcast. They put this league together. They got some really good heavy hitters into this league here. I mean, you, me, Mike Dempsey's in this league. Who else is I'm trying. Mike Florio, Jake Seeley, yeah. I mean, and obviously, and then the guys from Garage Guys podcast. So big shout out to them for putting this league together. Yeah, this was very tough draft. So I totally get that. I think I remember you drafting. You were right near me, I believe. I believe you were right near me at some point.
So yeah. But when your first three picks are Hopkins, Collins, and Freeman, it's going to be a rough day. But I do believe all of those players are bouncing back, so it's not the end of the world. And I do. Drew Brees was fantastic. It just, there was some really bad luck here. And I think that I had Delaney Walker, right? I had Delaney Walker.
Yes, you did. You did. You had Delaney Walker
because I had to replace that guy with Jesse James this week because there are no tight ends, none. So there I am. Now I have Tyler Eifert as my starting tight end with Jesse James in the background because I'm like, I have to grab someone just in case because all the tight ends are taken in this league, every single one. So we do have a lot of sympathy. I'm sure we're going to get a lot of questions about Delaney Walker, Greg Olsen this week, as we should. Just know we're there too because a lot of us felt like they were great value. Both those players, they were their own tier of great value. And so why would you even think twice about having a meh tight end behind them? Because you're like, oh, they're going to be one of the top targets on their team. And then week one, you're like, holy mackerel.
Or worse, when you go to the FFPC main event and it's 1.5 points for a tight end and you say, you know what, here, I'm going to help myself out with some tight end action, and you have Greg Olsen and Delaney Walker on your team.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. Right? I'm like cruising in now this week. I got some Ian Thomas. I got some Jonnu Smith. I got some Nick Vannett. Yeah.
Listen, I mean, it's some weird stuff going on here. But guys, it's week one. We're not going to overreact. We're going to move on. We obviously have to react to two people being out for the entire season. But other than that, everything is salvageable. I went back, actually. I was saying that I went and I checked out the Atlanta Eagles game again. You guys, I really genuinely do not think the Falcons are as bad as we've made them out to be. They were going up against a top 5 defense, a team that was that were coming off of a Super Bowl win. They're at their home field. The conditions were terrible. We don't talk enough about actually bad weather affected a lot of games this week. And Devonta Freeman did get hurt. That genuinely happened. He may not play this week, you guys, so you may have to take some precaution there. So we will get into all of that this week for sure as we are taking your questions. So go ahead. We are live right now on Periscope /Twitter. So go ahead and ask your questions there. And we are live on Facebook Live. We are live on YouTube, and we are ready to get to your questions. So we're going to start it off here. We got, what's your take on Aaron Rodgers this week? I think we do need to start with this. I think it's irresponsible for them to start Aaron Rodgers this week. I know that he's a competitor and he's going to go in there and say, I can do it, even if he has a torn ACL. I'm sure. But watching him play on one leg may have been thrilling for one game. It is not thrilling against the Minnesota Vikings.
Right. The team that put him out last year.
Yeah.
Let's remember that. The team that sacked him, broke his collarbone, they're coming to town this week. Blech.
Yeah. Exactly. If I am not answering questions on Periscope, sometimes the questions disappear and we can't see them. So I do want to remind you to ask again if I have not answered your questions. We genuinely do try to get them to everyone. Here's my thing. If Aaron Rodgers plays, I am still fading all of the Green Bay Packers because I do not think he's going to finish that particular game.
Which totally bums me out, too, because I have massive shares of Davante Adams.
Me too. I'm a Davante Adams fangirl. Love it. Guys, there's no reason not to love him. Number one guy in touchdowns over the last 2 seasons. The number one scorer. There were a ton of reasons to draft him. Just like there were a ton of reasons to draft Greg Olsen and Delanie Walker too. Anyway, but I think this is a big deal. If Aaron Rodgers plays, the only person that I'd have any interest in on a DFS perspective is maybe Geronimo Allison because he's the third option. We'll have the less intense defense on him. And for whatever reason, Aaron Rodgers likes to throw him the ball. So
I love Allison. I do.
Yeah.
I picked him up in a number of leagues this week. Absolutely.
Yeah. So I would say that's my only play on that. So my thoughts on basically Aaron Rodgers is just that I'm staying away. So Howard, how is your quarterback in GGFS League? Don't forget.
I don't even know. Who did I have there?
20 plus leagues a pop. Like we don't know what league you're talking about.
Do I have Aaron Rodgers in that league? I think I might. Oh, I do. Wow. Oh, I guess I gotta pick up a quarterback. I'll just do that right now. How about that?
So this is what
Who should I pick up, Brandon? Let's see. I could pick up. Hi, Case Keenum.
Yeah, I was just gonna say Case Keenum.
Hello.
Guys, I know he threw 3 interceptions. He'll do that, but he also threw 3 touchdowns, went over 300 yards, and loves Emmanuel Sanders. And how can that be wrong?
Done. That's so whoever just asked that question about how's my quarterback, suck it. Oh.
Love it. All right, you guys. Remember, who you're betting on is just as important as who you're betting with, and that's why we have partnered with mybookie.ag. They are your best bet for this season. They've been in business for years, have great reviews online, and their mobile site is easy to use. Visit fantasyalarm.com/mybookie and use the promo code ALARM, and MyBookie will match your deposit dollar for dollar. Again, that's fantasyalarm.com/mybookie, promo code ALARM. You play, you win, you get paid. All right. Austin Eckler. We got a question just with the question mark. I feel like the Chargers are always very weird against Kansas City. We discussed this on Sunday live. We talked about how this is a difficult place for them to play. And listen, this isn't narrative street. There's actually data that supports the fact that this happens. So it's not like, people are going crazy. It's kind of like Ben Roethlisberger home and away splits. You could tell me it doesn't matter, and then you tell me his stat lines at Cleveland, okay? I'm sorry. This is just the way of the world. So I feel like they were kind of throwing anything against the wall that could stick, and Austin Eckler was that guy. They're certainly not pumping the brakes on Melvin Gordon. Melvin Gordon was just as involved. Now, I do like Austin Eckler in the kind of Phillip Lindsay third down role kind of guy. I think he does have a bigger role this year. But I don't know if I'm comfortable putting him in as a starter, maybe a flex. But what are your thoughts on this, Howard?
I might consider him as a flex this week, going up against Buffalo. I mean, Buffalo's crap. We all know Buffalo's crap, and I could totally see the Chargers. Yeah, I mean, the Chargers could turn around and do exactly what the Ravens did, and that was, give a yank to a guy like Melvin Gordon, keep him fresh for the rest of the season there. What's wrong with running Austin Eckler out there? It won't happen until like the second half, but still, I think as long as the Chargers take a commanding lead, I think Eckler's a guy who can be used this week as a flex.
Yes. Agreed. And here's the thing. The only thing I don't like about this game for the Chargers is that they're traveling east and it's a 1:00 game. That is hard on West Coast teams. Mm-hmm. But you're right. That is all metered out.
Which is why I'm like they're going to ground and pound it as much as possible.
Yeah.
You put the onus on Melvin Gordon. Yeah, that'll open things up for. Listen, Rivers, as bad as Buffalo is, Rivers isn't throwing for 424 yards and 3 touchdowns. Could he throw 260 and 2? Yeah, that's probably more his speed. But you got to go with the ground game, especially with the travel issues.
Yeah, agreed. All right, we got Andrew here who says, hey, guys, I need one flex standard. Burkhead, Crabtree, Kerryon Johnson, John Brown, or Penny. Thanks.
Ooh, what? Wait, you got to tell me to get my pen and paper ready.
Yeah, sorry.
Go ahead, say that one more time.
It's non-PPR, flex.
Flex.
Burkhead, Crabtree, Kerryon Johnson, John Brown, or Rashad Penny.
Ooh. And then one player as a flex? I mean, I would probably it's to me it's a toss up between Crabtree and John Brown. Burkhead's dealing with an injury right now. Kerryon Johnson, who the hell knows what's going on with the Lions and that ground game. And Rashad Penny. How
did the Lions look?
Oh, horrible.
I know you're a Jets fan. That was beautiful for you. But let me tell you, it was scary from a fantasy perspective watching that game going, what?
Yeah, that was bad. But again, it comes down to the fact that they need to learn to establish a ground game. Fine, LeGarrette Blount was ineffective. Then give the ball more than 5 times to Kerryon Johnson. Like, holding this kid back is stupid. Now, I understand that they fell behind. They fell behind in the third quarter and then just totally abandoned the ground game. But, I mean, for this guy to have 5 carries for an entire game, that's nonsense. It's definite nonsense.
Yeah.
But as far as what Crabtree or Brown goes, to me, I'm going to go with Crabtree. Oh, it's standard, right? Yeah, I'm going to go with Crabtree.
I think I'm going to go Crabtree, too. I think so. I wish that we knew what was going on with Rex Burkhead, but we don't. But I think you're right, Crabtree. I'm hearing almost everyone talk about Sam Darnold. Should I dump Carr to jump on Darnold before the secret is out in a dynasty league? First of all, you should not have Derek Carr on any fantasy team that you are near. I don't care if even it's a 2-quarterback league. What are you doing with Derek Carr on your team? He's hideous. Get him away. It's a bad omen.
What is Sam Darnold doing not drafted in a dynasty league? That makes 0 sense to me. Yeah,
so the answer is yes.
Yes, 100%. Yes. Like, walk away from the live stream and make this roster move right now.
Yeah, we don't want to hear anything else from you, Jason. We like you, but you must go do this immediately.
The next thing I want to see from Jason is a screenshot of Sam Darnold on his team right now. That's the only thing I will accept from him.
That's right, Jason. We're on Team Jason. Go get Darnold. Eifert or Ebron, PPR?
I mean...
So here's the deal. I want to say something, though, because I went through the stats here. Ebron did not play in many snaps. He is clearly behind Doyle, but he was used when he was on the field.
They worked him out of the slot a lot more, which is one of the things that you have to kind of take into account here. Yeah, it's a 2 tight end set, but when you start using Ebron out of the slot instead of out of the tight end position, it does change his value a little bit more. And I guess because of Eifert's injury history, then I'm going to tilt towards Ebron. I don't love it. But if they do run him out of the slot a little bit more, then I do think it is workable.
I'm worried about the Colts on the road.
Yeah.
But, yeah, okay. I could go with that. These are very similar players, though, Brian, and so I understand your question. Also, Brian says, Bills are tough in home openers. Forget last week, Brian. We were with you on the Ebron Eifert question.
Come on, Brian. Don't give me the Buffalo rhetoric here. Cut it out.
Hashtag Bills Mafia. I'm into it, but that is what they did last week was unacceptable, and it doesn't bounce back that much. Jason has another question for us. We're looking for that screenshot, Jason, but he says Rivers or Keenum. I go Keenum in this one because I think Keenum's going to have to throw more. We kind of discussed that there because Rivers will be in Buffalo. What do you think? What do you think, Howard?
I refuse to answer this question because he hasn't screenshot a picture of Sam Darnold. So whatever Brandon says.
All right, there you go.
She's
Boom. I actually really like Case Keenum for this week in general. There's almost like nothing else to.
In general, I love him.
Yeah.
Are you kidding? Oh, and this whole him and Emmanuel Sanders. Right? Is this the heart? Do I do this? Do I do that? Yes. Hello, Case Keenum and Emmanuel Sanders. Yep. I love you.
Yeah. Okay.
That's a tandem. Oh, I love it.
Mm-hmm. Howard, get you some Fitz magic. Haha. Okay. People are lamenting drafting Royce Freeman. Royce Freeman had the most defenders in the box out of any other running back in the National Football League in week 1. They kind of over-prepared for Royce Freeman, which is fascinating because obviously he's a rookie. So they decided to go with the Philip Lindsay route. I still think Royce Freeman is going to happen. I think he's a classic don't freak out in week 1. I would buy low on Royce Freeman. What do you think, Howard?
I think Philip Lindsay is this year's Tariq Cohen.
Yeah.
I said it on the site. I in the handcuff report over at fantasyalarm.com. Yeah. I said it right then and there. He is this year's Tariq Cohen. I think everybody's getting a little uppity about it, just like they dropped Jordan Howard. They were trading away Jordan Howard. I was like, you guys are killing me here.
Yeah.
So I think, I think Lindsay, he's a 5'8" scat back, undrafted free agent. Yeah, all of a sudden, the undrafted free agent is going to be the better play or like poaching half the carries from an all-pro friggin' bell cow back like Royce Freeman, who just needs to just get those reps.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I think that if you can buy low on Freeman now, I would buy low on both Freemans, to be honest with you. We'll get to that in a little bit here. Would you trade Wentz and Freeman for Dalvin Cook? Alex Smith is my current quarterback.
Which Freeman?
Good question. It doesn't say.
Sorry, I can't answer it, guys. Royce, Devonta, who is it?
River of Fluff.
River of Fluff, come on.
You can do this. You can do this.
You can throw a little fluff action there. I'm in a fish shirt. I got John Fishman donuts going on over here, and you're going to turn around and ask a question? This is like, you know what? I love
Freeman's too little time.
This is like, I love this in baseball, too, when they're like, what do you think I should do with Martinez?
Yeah.
Come on.
You're getting a thank you for getting some guy in second place in fantasy baseball. Cade Peterson, in case you know him.
Hello, Cade Peterson.
Hi. Sanders or Cooper in my flex spot? Like Amari Cooper, the person we saw play last week? And Emmanuel Sanders?
Did we see him play?
I think we did. Because that's how he's been playing for a year now. So if we don't believe this, we have a rather large sample size of pretty consistent play.
We really do.
I don't understand why everyone's like shocked. I'm shocked. And I'm like, you can't be shocked. You can be mad. You could be sad, but you cannot be shocked. He and Derek Carr, we have a ton of sample size, you guys. I don't understand why we continue having this conversation. Emmanuel Sanders is the number 1 wide receiver for the Denver Broncos. And really, I would say 1A, 1B with Demaryius Thomas. Demaryius Thomas also had a good game, everybody, and he will continue to ball too. So I actually think you could trade low for Thomas because everyone's so high on Sanders right now, and I think that might be a good idea. But I would not start Amari Cooper.
No. I mean, this is what I mean. We always talk.
Broncos.
We talk about not freaking out over week 1 stuff. Okay, well, this is more like week 18.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, this is beyond. And like Howard was saying, sometimes also we'll get these questions and we're like, wow, did you listen to our show at all? Because like your team is nothing like what we told you to do. But like, listen, it's your team and you do what you want to do. But my point is, definitely I'm not doing Amari Cooper over Emmanuel Sanders, and that would be rest of season. Jason Tucker did finally come back and says, I can't figure out how to post the screenshot, but trust me, it's done. All right, Jason, you can enter back into the conversation.
Fine.
I don't think you can post a screenshot on the Facebook Live. All right. Well, fine, Jason. You win. 2 of the 3 here. Isaiah Crowell, James White, or Nelson Aguilar.
Ooh, that's actually a nice threesome right there.
Yeah.
That's a nice threesome. What's that?
I go both running backs.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
Because I'm really afraid he's going to continue doing these 8-catch, 33-yard games. As long as Foles is there, I'm out, in my opinion. But
no, and I get that, and I like him for the volume. I definitely do. I like him for the relationship that he does have with Foles, and he does have it with Wentz. But when you're looking at the fact that James White could be, or is, really the only healthy back for the Patriots at this point right now, you kind of have to tilt that way. And then Crowell going up against Miami. Miami's run defense is horrible, people. Horrible. They only gave up 104 yards to the Titans in a 7-hour rain-soaked, disgusting game. If you don't take away Derrick Henry's 62-yard touchdown that got called back on some bullshit holding call that didn't even exist, well, then that's 168 rushing yards they allowed and a touchdown. Give me Crowell against Miami D all day long.
Yeah. The Patriots, they'll continue to win because that's what they do. We could also talk about how tragic the Houston Texans are at another point. But right now, just know James White will have to be involved because there's no one else there. And I know it's a full-point PPR. Nelson Aguilar certainly is tempting. But for me, the other two are just really baller. Felix is here, and he says flex, non-PPR, 10-team, Allen Robinson, Matt Breida, or Pierre Garçon. For me, it's Allen Robinson.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I'd like to see a little coming out party here for the Bears offense.
Yeah.
Now it's not that divisional game where you're facing and you're dealing with Green Bay and the Aaron Rodgers mystique and all the other crap that goes along with it. It's Seattle, and Seattle's offense is just atrocious. Their offensive line is atrocious, and their defense. This is not, by any stretch of the imagination, the Legion of Boom.
No, Case Keenum just threw for over 300 yards on them.
Yeah.
I know it was a home game, and we had called that the offense was going to do a good job there, but still, it was pretty crazy. Also, I thought Allen Robinson looked good. I said that I needed to see him before I could start him, and I thought what I saw against the Packers was pretty darn good. I think they just took their foot off the pedal once they thought Aaron Rodgers was out. And then it was like he rose from the dead and ruined everyone's lives. Diggs, Crowell, or Collins in my flex spot, full point PPR.
Diggs, Crowell, or Collins. See, now that's like a decision that's tough to make. I like that. Damn.
Because you know what, Vikings. You could do it with Case Keenum. You could do it with Alex Smith. But it's going to be Adam Thielen for over 100 yards. But Stephon Diggs is going to score the touchdown. It's just death, taxes, and the Diggs Thielen connections.
So you're going with him over both running backs, over Collins and Crowell.
No, I'm not, because I my problem is he doesn't get enough usage because it's Adam Thielen who's getting all the usage and the yardage. Okay. Am I crazy? He had 4 catches for 46 yards or something, but then he had the touchdown. Listen, out of those 3 players, I think the best player is Diggs, so maybe I am going that. I guess so. I think Collins is going to bounce back, but I know it's hard to start him, and especially on Thursday Night Football.
Yeah. So okay, go with Diggs. Let's go Diggs. Let's go Diggs. Let's go Diggs.
Someone's going to be like, "You're a moron."
Oh my God! I can't believe you said use Stephon Diggs. Ew.
Someone will tweet us that for sure, but still, at least I can blow them off. I had bigger hopes for Devin Funchess. What's y'all's take on the Carolina receiving corps with Olsen out? This is a great question. And I actually I also wrote for The Athletic, and I wrote actually the beat writer very specifically, like, I need help. What's going to happen now? Because it can't just be Christian McCaffrey, which it was this week. But moving forward, they have to do something else. And I was shocked at how few fantasy points any of the Panthers really scored last week.
Right? Real bad.
I felt like they were killing them. And then I looked at the box score, and I was like, what happened? Where are the points? Devin Funchess he's going to be the number 2 target. It's going to be him and Christian McCaffrey. I think the majority of those targets will go to Olsen, just because I don't think there can be any more targets for Christian McCaffrey. I think he's tapped out. Like, there just aren't more targets to give. He is maxed. So, he might get 1 or 2, but I think it's going to be Funchess. So I'm actually a little high on Funchess moving forward. I think he'll be a little better. Because let me tell you, they did not use DJ Moore
No.
Wow.
I did not. Yeah, I like him moving forward also. I think that, I think they're trying to get into the swing of things here right now with Norv Turner as the new offensive coordinator. I mean, I think they're trying to do too much with McCaffrey right now, and I think it's ridiculous that they're trying to make him a back that like a 3-down back to go between the tackles. I think that's only going to get him hurt. So I'm looking at Funchess as a guy who's probably going to pick up that slack on the targets there for Olsen. Yeah. I still think Ian Thomas gets some work because that's what the playbook, written says. And Cam Newton is used to looking for Greg Olsen. He's used to looking for the tight end. So, I mean, I don't think that Thomas is going to get, 8 targets a game like Olsen did, but maybe he gets 5 targets a game, which is still solid. And yeah, hopefully, I mean, Funchess just needs to use his size. He needs to get some separation. He needs to just be aggressive. And I think that he's definitely somebody who can be fine moving forward. Am I trusting him starting him right now? No, he needs to show me a little bit something there first.
Yeah. And I think that I need to see them in a good game against the Falcons. The Falcons have some injuries on defense, so I think there's a possibility that he breaks out a little bit there to prove that he can do it. He's done it before. I think it's just he's going to be an inconsistent guy, and he's never going to be flashy. Like, he's not ever going to be Antonio Brown, Julio Jones, someone like that, no matter how many targets they give him. So it could be a little frustrating. But, you guys, if you want to play DFS and you're all about the single entry because you don't like playing against a computer or the Sharks or whatever it is, then you want to check out Fantasy Factor. Fantasy Factor is a DFS site exclusively with single entry contests, giving you a much better chance at winning. So you can become a factor today. And right now, you can get $5 of free money immediately with any deposit. Just go to fantasyalarm.com/factor. Again, that is fantasyalarm.com/factor. Trying to decide my flex this week: Dorsett, Cobb, or Godwin. 0.5 PPR. Who do you think will be the best? I'm feeling Godwin. Oh, I do have Breida if that could be a better option. This is Corey. Hi, Corey.
Well, I'm not using Dorsett against the Jaguars. I'm just not going to do that.
What happened to Chris Hogan? Why?
I don't know. I don't know what happened to him. No, I think he'll be back. I'm not worried about him. But just this matchup against the Jaguars, to me, just doesn't, it just doesn't scream, oh, let me use a B or C level receiver here in Dorsett. So I'm out on him. Mm-hmm. Breida makes for an interesting option there. I think Breida makes for an interesting play. Who are the other two again? Who am I missing?
It's Cobb or Dorsett. But
yeah, Cobb
against Minnesota with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, no,
and then Godwin, I mean, listen, I know Fitzmagic was on fire, but they played the Eagles this week. I am not into that. We saw what the Eagles did to the Falcons. I think Breida's the way to go. I know that you mentioned it last, but to me, that's the most solid option. They're playing at home for the first time this season, and they're going up against the Detroit Lions, and we saw them play like the poop emoji. So hope for a little more of the poop emoji and go with Breida. Alex Collins tonight, or hold out for Tevin Coleman's possible full workload, full point PPR. This is Cade. Hi, Cade.
Collins for me.
Yeah, I think I'm going to stick with Collins. You guys, the Ravens murdered the Bills. They murdered them. And so once the murdering was done, they left the scene. And that includes Joe Flacco. Okay, Lamar Jackson got in on week 1 for crying out loud. That's nuts. It included Alex Collins, who, yes, he fumbled, but also they pulled him because they didn't want him to get hurt.
That's listen. I've been freaking saying that since the game started. Like as soon as they pulled Collins out, as soon as the game was in hand in the first quarter and he stopped seeing touches, I was like, listen, they're saving him. Why wouldn't they save him? Again, Kenneth Dixon is on IR. Would you prefer that be Alex Collins? I don't think so. So, yeah, I mean, I can't. We were saying this before the live stream. There's certain things, guys, where maybe you're just overthinking it, or maybe you're just box score surfing And that's a problem. Like if you're just box score surfing and you're seeing what the carries are or anything like that, and you're not looking at any of the situational stuff, then you're doing yourself a huge disservice. Like you're coming to us and you're like, should we use Collins or some piece of shit other guy who sucks balls? And we're like, what are you, an idiot? Of course you use Collins. But you're asking the question because you don't know. You haven't looked at what went on in the game. Like that to me is crazy. Like we have game recaps on Fantasy Alarm that detail all of that information for you.
Well, but to be fair, this question, the other one was Tevin Coleman, and Tevin Coleman looked good, and he could be the full guy. But then you don't have Alex Collins because he's playing on Thursday. Right.
So, well, there you go. So what happens? What happens if we all of a sudden get word that tomorrow, Friday, Devonta Freeman practices, and then all of a sudden, then it becomes, well, who's going to get the workload? How much work is Devonta Freeman going to get versus how much Tevin Coleman's going to get? A bird in the hand's worth two in the bush, baby. You got Collins. He is the bell cow. I'm not worried about Javorius Allen at all. You might as well just use him right now rather than hope. Because what happens if all of a sudden Tevin Coleman doesn't get the carries? Then what do? You just screwed yourself, and you're probably looking at like 20-odd points sitting on your bench from Collins.
So this is interesting. I was offered Anthony Miller and Royce Freeman for Derrick Henry and Trey Burton. Thoughts? Okay, I want to say something real quick. First of all, Dion Lewis, I believe, is definitely going to get more touches than Derrick Henry. I felt this way the whole time. I will continue to feel that way. But I do think that Derrick Henry, much like the play that was called back, is a big play guy, but he normally gets the big plays. So I'm not as down on Derrick Henry as everybody else. Trey Burton was wide open in the end zone. I actually have the picture of it up on my Twitter handle where he's just like running like this. And it's like, see, this is why I'm still in. You guys, Trey Burton will get used more. Matt Nagy tried to get too cute in his first game at Lambeau Field. And that was ridiculous. He needed to just stick to what works, and that's working with Trey Burton. He knows it. He was using Deion Sims. Like, what is happening? So anyway, I
thought Deion Sims was dead. I really did.
Here's my thing. In this trade, you're saying that you would rather have Anthony Miller, who was even less involved than Trey Burton, because then you're trading Derrick Henry for Royce Freeman, but you know they're both in shared backfields right now. So, no. The answer is no. Stay with Derrick Henry and Trey Burton, and this week should be better. Is TJ Yeldon worth starting in the flex full point PPR, even if Leonard Fournette is active?
No. Listen, he will get a share of it, but actually Doug Marrone came out today and said that he wants to get Corey Grant more touches, and he wants to utilize Corey Grant more. So if Leonard Fournette is out, I think Yeldon's in a timeshare with Corey Grant. I think Corey Grant's going to end up with like that third down work, and Yeldon will take the early down work. If Fournette plays, maybe they limit his touches and you get Yeldon and Grant in there. So either way, I'm very slowly but surely like petering off of TJ Yeldon. And I have Fournette in a ton of leagues, and I've got him handcuffed to Yeldon, and now I'm like, shit, this sucks.
I think it's probably going to be Yeldon. I don't feel bad about it. I need to know who else you're comparing him to. Like, he may be the right flex for you. He may not be, because I don't know your other options. Another Leonard Fournette question from Rochelle. In a PPR league with Fournette questionable, should I play Crowell or Collins for the RB2? I would not. I would wait for Fournette, and then if he doesn't play Crowell. I would not play Collins today. What about you, Howard?
No, I'm with you. Because you have a viable option there with Crowell, then I would pass on Collins tonight and just see what happens there. Chances are you'll end up starting Crowell, who's in a beautiful matchup there, but yeah, it gives you some time. Check out the practice reports, see what happens.
Yeah, so I feel good about that. Would you trade Wentz and Freeman for Dalvin Cook? Alex Smith. Oh, we already talked about that one because we don't know who Freeman is. Stills or Corey Davis? By the way, great drafting because they both actually seem to be rather involved in their offenses. I don't know how you sit Kenny Stills. I think Kenny Stills is this year's Adam Thielen. Like we're gonna get questions about Kenny Stills for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, maybe even 5 weeks, and then we're gonna be like, how many more games does this guy need to blow out of the water? Here's my problem with the Titans is that now we've got Marcus Mariota who's probably gonna play, but he still has an elbow injury that he suffered in the game. Man, Marcus Mariota did not look right. So
No, not at all. He looked terrible. And Corey Davis is dealing with a hamstring issue right now. He says he's fine, but yeah, I'm going to trust Corey Davis to tell me that he's fine. Hamstring issues all last year basically cost him, the entire preseason and the majority of the beginning of the season there.
And Taylor Lewan is out.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about Taylor Lewan being out.
I think he's going to be out this week. So check on that. But listen, against the Houston defense with their playing out, I don't know, man. So I'm going with Stills. It's crazy, but true. Would you go Chris Thompson or Carlos Hyde in a full point PPR? I would go Chris Thompson. What about you?
Who are the Skins playing this week? It's the Colts. Yeah. I would go Chris Thompson here. Yeah. Yeah,
and they're at home. Rivers or Luck?
Ooh, that's an interesting one because
I think Luck.
I think I would go Luck too. Like I said about Rivers, the problem that I have is that I do think that if the Chargers go out to a big lead on the Bills, what's the spread in that game? It has to have moved. The line has to have moved. I'm curious as to the line here. Give me 1 second.
I think it's 43.
That's the over. No. Yeah, and I think that's going to end up being the under.
25.25, 17.75 for the Bills.
My Sharona. It's only a 7.5 spread. Yeah, no, I would say that I think that the Chargers are going to end up running the ball a lot more. If their run defense sucks because Joey Bosa is out and LaShawn McCoy does okay, there's really still only so much that they can do. I think the Chargers defense got embarrassed by what happened with the Chiefs. I think that they need to, they know that they're going to have to, knuckle under here and just stuff McCoy and force Josh Allen into making mistakes. So because of that, I think that they control the clock, they control the ball on the ground, and that puts me off of Rivers then.
Yeah. And to force Josh Allen to make mistakes needs to happen. I think that's just called Josh Allen's playing. But anyway, play both Mixon and Collins tonight? Yeah, I would. I don't like Thursday night football games.
Who are the other options?
There are no other. You didn't list any other options. But if those are your best guys, play your best guys. You don't just sit them because you're like, I don't want two people on Thursday night football. I mean, to be honest with you, Mixon's the one facing the tougher defense. But you're not going to sit Mixon after what you saw on Sunday because you're not a moron. So, of course, you're going to play Mixon. So then you're not going to...
I don't know. Who's asking the question here? Let's see if I know who it is.
I don't know. His name is Robert. I do Judge Roberts. No, I'm just kidding. I actually like the name Robert. It's classy.
Maybe he's French and it's Robert.
That's even better. My point is, you don't sit the guy who looked awesome last week or the guy who has a great matchup but was basically sat because his team didn't need him anymore. Kenny Stills-Court, we already did that one. Kirk Cousins or Tom Brady? This is interesting.
Ooh. For this one, I'd like to go to the voice from above and see if our illustrious producer, John Mpemba, lover of all things New England, is probably wearing his TB12 jersey. I'd like to hear his thoughts on this one. Cousins versus Brady. John, can you hear me, John?
I can hear you, Howard. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, John. Brandon, can you hear John?
What up, John?
Hey, Brendan. I think I'm going to have to sit Tom Brady this week against Jacksonville. They're going down into Jacksonville, which is kind of an issue. And, I mean, Chris Hogan was a non-factor. I got to think Jalen Ramsey probably blankets him again. They still have Bouye, and they still have that great defense there. They're going to take away Gronk. I don't trust the other receiving options. Are we really believing Philip Dorsett is a guy now? The running
now they have Corey Coleman.
I don't know. We'll see if he's still on the team in 2 weeks.
Burn!
Yeah. And what? James White's the only running back that's going to be healthy? So, no, I can't go Brady. Go Cousins.
Yeah, it's tough stuff, you guys. I know no one wants to sit Tom Brady, but this is why I don't draft quarterbacks early. Because then I don't feel bad sitting people. Kirk Cousins looked great. The Vikings look great. I think the only hesitation I have here is if Aaron Rodgers doesn't play. We got Deshaun Kaiser there, just like throwing pick sixes, and then they're just done. That's my only thing. But I still think I would. And listen, Tom Brady played well against Jacksonville in the playoffs, but it was at home. So yeah, I think the Tom Brady game is going to be more of a grind, but also it's going to be really hot, like really hot. So anyway, Corey Davis or Brandon Cooks, non-PPR.
Cooks.
Agreed.
There's probably very few wide receivers I would say to sit in favor of Corey Davis, actually.
Corey Davis had a great first game in terms of us feeling like he's going to be the guy, but the whole Tennessee offense got injured. So we have a real problem here. It's like Mayday in Tennessee. So unfortunately, it's going to really affect the way that I feel about Corey Davis this week as well. James White or Phillip Lindsay? I go James White.
James White, absolutely. Me too.
Guys, Royce Freeman actually did not have a terrible game. It just was how the game script went. So I think they'll be fine with him. Quincy Enunwa looks like a flex play versus Miami. Is he a better start than Kenyon Drake?
Ooh, I'm going to say no. Like, here's the thing. You had Darius Slay covering Robbie Anderson for the majority of the game. That immediately pivoted the targets over towards Quincy Enunwa. Now I look at the matchup here, and yeah, you got Xavier Howard, and he's going to be on Robbie Anderson for the most part, but it's not the same as having Darius Slay out there. I think Darius Slay is a better cover corner than Xavier Howard, so I'm not exactly sure of the target distribution over there for the Jets. Kenyon Drake, on the other hand, Miami knows that they need to run the ball. Gase, as dumb as Gase can be at times, if he's going to keep, controlling the game, he's going to control the clock and not have to sit there and rely on deep passes to Kenny Stills on the regular basis, knows that he's got to give the ball to Kenyon Drake. It might not be an amazing game for Drake. Maybe he only gets you 70, 80 yards, but I do think that there's a good shot that he finds his way into the end zone and catches 3 or 4 balls.
I think the only way that I would consider Enunwa is if this is a full point PPR. You didn't say that, so I'm going to go with half or standard, but we'll see. Crabtree tonight or wait until Sunday for Pierre Garçon? I am going Crabtree.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Crab over Garçon too. Absolutely.
Yeah. Do I start Mixon and Delvin Cook or replace one with Adrian Peterson, non-PPR?
Mixon and Delvin Cook.
Yeah, guys, I think this Adrian Peterson thing was I have a difficult time believing that that's going to happen every single week. He was also playing a revenge game, which I know people don't like to hear, but it's true, and he definitely does not like the Arizona Cardinals. Patrick Peterson possibly shadowing Cooks. Do I start Corey Davis or Brandon Cooks? Again, we're going to be totally out on Corey Davis, you guys, so our apologies. I understand the logic. It just isn't where we are.
And Peterson's not shadowing him. The Cardinals have not said anything about doing anything like that whatsoever. They know that if they end up like shadowing Cooks with Patrick Peterson, then the Rams are just going to beat him with Kupp and with Woods. I mean, it's not going to happen.
Kupp looked amazing.
Kupp looked fantastic.
What was that? Whoa!
Why? Why does that shock you?
Well, no, I mean, it doesn't shock me in the fact that he was good last year, but he looked magical this year. Where I was like, this guy is he was, one of those fringe wide receiver 3 flex guys last year. He could be he's a wide receiver 2 at least right now, in my opinion. So that was a big jump in at least my rankings of him going into the season. Full point PPR, McCoy or Lynch? I'll tell you what, I'm much higher on Lynch than probably everyone else is, because I just think Gruden's going to run the ball no matter what. They could be down 25 points, and they're going to at least have Lynch doing a couple things out there. I don't know if McCoy has a chance to go more than a yard. That Bills team.
No, yeah, the Bills team is terrible.
These are 2 bad teams. Don't get me wrong.
I'm not gonna be out on the Chargers defense. I just really worry about what the Chargers are thinking with Joey Bosa out, because Anthony Joseph, not Anthony Joseph, the coach for the Chargers. I'm combining him with Vance Joseph, and I'm wrong. Either way, he came out and he was talking about the fact that Joey Bosa is going to be out for a few weeks. It's wasn't just last week. He's going to be out this week. He's going to be out the week after. And really, you need to see the Chargers defense respond. So McCoy's going to get the volume, but I'm not in love with him here. I'm just kind of worried about this Chargers D.
Yeah. Are you talking about the head coach? That's Anthony Lynn.
Yeah, Anthony Lynn. Thank you. Okay. See, Anthony Joseph.
I was like, or the defensive coordinator. I was like, are we talking about coordinators or I was like, is he really talking about Anthony Lynn? Yeah. Yes, I agree with you. I'm a little bit disturbed. But so would you go Lynch or McCoy in a PPR league?
Me? I'd probably go McCoy here. Like,
really? Okay.
Listen, I hate Marshawn Lynch. I think that the Raiders are going to fall behind. Listen, Lynch looked good for one run, that 10-yard run in the beginning of the game. But once the Raiders fall behind, Lynch is off the field. Like, it's all Jalen Richard. There's no Marshawn Lynch. As soon as they fall behind, Marshawn Lynch is sitting on the sidelines, wearing his beanie, has no interest in the game whatsoever. I'm going to sit Marshawn Lynch in this matchup, especially against Denver. Is it Denver? Who are we talking about? Yeah, it's Denver. Von Miller, Bradley Chubb.
Okay. I am having a hard time wrapping my head around the Buffalo Bills getting near the red zone, let alone end zone. It just what I saw really disturbed me. So I guess I'm gonna have to do that. All right. Oh, he tweeted the screenshot to us, I guess, of the picking up Darnold, which is, again, crazy. Need 2. Royce Freeman, Jamison Crowder, Isaiah Crowell. Oh, start doing this. Or Robert Woods, full point PPR.
Only one there? Crowell.
2.
2? So it was Crowell, Royce Freeman, who the other guys?
Jamison Crowder or Robert Woods.
Oh, give me Crowder. Give me Crowder and Crowell. Give me the Crows.
Okay.
Give me the Crows, baby.
I do want to say this. Paul Richardson might be available in your leagues. He's available in a lot of leagues. I would say go check it out. He was on the field for almost every single snap, and he had the second most targets just behind Chris Thompson. They didn't have to chuck it down the field to him, which is usually his specialty, because they had the game in hand pretty much immediately, because Arizona just, wow. Mike McCoy as an offensive coordinator is just, whew. But I think that he's going to be big time there. But Crowder didn't get used either. But again, the game was just so out of control. They just ran out the clock with Adrian Peterson. They gave him, 26 carries? It was nuts. So anyway, I think it's all about game script there. Will Browns Saints be a shootout? This question's from Felix. I think the Saints are angry. They actually didn't do a terrible game on the offensive side. They scored a lot of points. Alvin Kamara, if you had him, you're delighted. Michael Thomas had the most receiving yards, tied with Jarrett Cook. The weirdest thing I've ever had to say out loud. For the week, Drew Brees had a great game. Everyone had a great game except for the defense. It just got roasted by Fitzmagic out of nowhere. So I don't know. I'm a little nervous for all of our Cleveland people, except for Jarvis Landry, who is so clearly the number 1 wide receiver on that team. It's just embarrassing. But other than that, I'm a little bit worried. Scott Jorgensen, hi, friend from Minnesota. He is asking about our feelings about the Minnesota Vikings and Stephon Diggs. I think that our feelings are pretty much the same. Right? We love Adam Thielen. We love Stephon Diggs. They have very specific roles, and the Minnesota Vikings are awesome. I mean,
Skull Vikings. Skull Vikings. There you go. Right. That's my opinion.
Is Yeldon an auto plug to play if Fournette is a no-go, or should I go with Carlos Hyde?
I'd actually use Carlos Hyde in this one. Listen, I don't like the Saints' run defense. Mm-hmm. Like, I know the Saints are going to be angry, and that's going to be fine, which is why Marshawn Lattimore is going to shut down Josh Gordon, and I worry about what the passing game is going to look like. But I think Cleveland tries to establish the run early, and I think they will find some success with Carlos Hyde early on. The question really is whether, how soon do they abandon the ground game once the Saints just start piling points?
Yeah.
Piling points.
We have 10 minutes left, so we're going to just jam here. Vikings D in all DFS if Aaron has to sit.
Yeah.
Yes. You can pay up for them. I even think if Aaron Rodgers plays, I have a difficult time believing he's going to play for the full game. I think this is really scary. I'm very worried. Like, I'm concerned for him. How do y'all like Alex Collins in a 16-game slate? Low usage last week since he has both. Yeah, we were just talking about that. I think Alex Collins is probably the player that people are most overreacting to, which is very funny because I thought Chris Hogan had the worst game of everyone, and no one's overreacted to him. But Alex Collins did fumble, but I think they pulled him with the same time they pulled Joe Flacco. They were saving him, so. That's really clear to me. Any of these guys instead of Fournette and PPR? Miller, Hyde, Devontae Parker, no. Rashad Penny or Will Fuller? Hyde.
You don't like Lamar Miller? I mean, I'm assuming it's Lamar Miller.
I'm assuming it's Lamar Miller too.
Tennessee?
I thought Tennessee's offense is really tragic. And they have another injury on their offensive line. I have a real problem with their offense. But
so if their offense can't score points and Houston does, don't you think maybe they kind of run it down with Lamar Miller a little bit more? I mean, I'm just asking. I'm not like I still like I like Carlos Hyde. I do.
Yeah.
The difference for me is do they use Miller to chew up the clock and take the lead on Tennessee, or does Carlos Hyde get his work in and maybe they put him on the sidelines once they have to start throwing the ball more, and it's all Duke Johnson. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. So I would prefer you to make this decision, Brandon. You're a smart lady. Come on, help me. I
thought I did make the decision, but
did you say Hyde?
Yeah, I don't like. I do not. I didn't see anything from Lamar Miller that made me feel exceedingly confident about him. But I know a lot of other people like him, so that's fine. But yeah, I would personally go Hyde, but Lamar Miller is my second choice, and we can hope that the Houston defense is better. Again, they take away your number one option, the New England Patriots, and that was clearly DeAndre Hopkins, not Lamar Miller. So what you saw was him not being defended as the number one option. So if that didn't make you happy, then it is what it is. Okay, Bears defense or Washington defense?
I'm gonna go with the Bears defense. This Seattle O-line is just terrible.
Khalil Mack with that offensive line, not even fair.
I feel bad for Russell Wilson. Like Russell Wilson is going to be
so good.
He's going to be on the run the entire time. I mean, it is literally like he'll extend plays with his legs, but how many times do you think he's going to get chased out? Out the sidelines. I'm
going to play that Bears defense a lot. A lot this year. Quincy or Hogan?
I'll go Quincy here. Hogan against the Jags is not a pretty matchup.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Rest of season, Njoku or Jonnu Smith, PPR? I'd go Njoku.
Yep.
Yeah, great. Collins or Drake?
Collins.
Yeah, probably. I have both of them on too many teams, you guys. Too many teams. If you were in that spot where like you were in the middle-ish, they were like the third, fourth round guys for a lot of my leagues.
Yep, you're picking 9th or 10th in a 12-team league. That's exactly where you were in the third round.
Yeah, so it just was what it was. All right, full point PPR. Start Crabtree tonight or a Nunwa? I think I'd go Crabtree.
Yeah, I'd go Crab. Absolutely.
George Kittle or Jordan Reed, non-PPR.
Jordan Reed.
Job. Hey, everyone is talking up George Kittle. Everyone.
I like George Kittle. I do.
I love George Kittle. And I like Jordan Reed. But here's the deal. I think you offer one of these dudes up for a trade. These two dudes have never been hotter than this week. You don't need both. Now, I say that, and I'm sitting here crying because I don't have Delaney Walker or Greg Olsen. But I think you could get some serious value if you have a hole on your team. You may not, Ryan, and that'd be fine. But if you do, these are the guys I would put up there. Cam or Case?
I'm going to go Case.
Yeah, I think I will too. Although Cam always takes in those touchdowns, baby. It will never stop. You guys, he could have every surgery imaginable, and he is still going to run the ball. I don't care what happens. Anyone who tells you otherwise is lying. 10-team, non-PPR flex question. Chris Thompson, Tevin Coleman, or Devin Funchess? Who is the most flexible? I think it's probably Chris Thompson that could do the splits out of all these three guys. But
yes.
I think I'd go Chris Thompson in fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all right. Peterson or Collins, half-point PPR?
Collins. I'll just go Collins all day long, people. All day long. Unless you're talking to me about like a rock-solid bell cow running back who's not over the age of 96, I'll take Collins, please.
Yeah. Wow, Peterson. I don't know who this is, but I love you. He said, tragedy turns to comedy in Tennessee.
It is true. It is true.
Yeah, you just got to laugh. You guys, like Tennessee's really bad. Full point PPR, Crabtree or Enunwa? I'm going Crabtree. We got the similar question there before. James White over Jamal Williams. Oh,
James White over
Jamal.
Yeah, poor Jamal, but yes, James White over Jamal, I think.
Yeah, because there's no way he's going to be able to run if people are not afraid of Aaron Rodgers. So that's life there. Roethlisberger or Goff for non-PPR?
You know, Roethlisberger's dealing with an elbow issue here right now, which kind of bums me out a little bit. So I think I'd go Goff in this matchup.
I think I would too. All right, so would you flex half-point PPR, Derrick Henry, Brandon Marshall, who is very interesting to me now with this Doug Baldwin news, which we have not discussed yet. Peyton Barber or Philip Lindsay?
So it's Brandon Marshall, Peyton Barber, or Philip Lindsay?
Or Derrick Henry.
I think I would actually go with Lindsay here, only because I think Denver has a very easy time with Oakland, and I think Lindsay just kind of gets a bunch of the work, like the third down passing work. I feel like this is like the only time that you want to use him.
Yeah, I feel like if it's a flex, so this isn't a starter. It's only a half-point PPR, which makes me nervous. But yeah, I agree with you. So I just answered them on my Twitter. Half-point PPR, flex, Sony Michel, Nick Chubb, or Sterling Shepard?
Sterling Shepard. Like, I don't even know if Nick Chubb's going to get a carry at all. And then, whatchamacallit? And then, what was the first name? It was
Sony Michel.
Yeah. Oh, the voice from above tells us Sony Michel not even going to play probably. So, yeah, there you go.
And in non-PPR, Collins, Adrian Peterson, or Royce Freeman. I know you want to go with Collins. I'm fine with Collins. I'm fine with Adrian Peterson too, but I'm worried about Adrian Peterson. So before we go, though, we have 3 minutes here, and I do want to go over like a general thing here. What was the most surprising thing in a good way from week 1 for you, Howard?
The most surprising thing in a good way for week 1. Well, I mean, for me, seriously, it was the Saints losing, because I'm in 2 survivor pools, and, you know, in one, 52% of the field took the Saints, and in the other one, it was like 60% of the field. So, yeah, for me, that was the most surprising thing that happened that made me happy.
Okay.
And the Jets beat the snot out of the Lions. I mean, come on. Yeah. That's the chalk. That's my chalk right there.
Yeah, that was definitely a cherry on top. For me, and I think this is really important because it's a statistical issue that I think we need to talk about. And it's something that's confused me since I entered the fantasy community, and I think you really saw it come full circle. Efficiency is not a bad thing. And that's in the case of Alvin Kamara, Tyreek Hill. People kept saying they can't keep up this efficiency. They can't, they're going to talk about regression. Okay, yeah, they might over the course of the season, absolutely. But the point is they're capable of that kind of efficiency because of their skill set and their level of talent. It's not like they just magically have like this efficiency. And I think we saw that today where like, yes, of course, they're not going to do it every single game in the exact same way, but that doesn't mean they're any less of a good player than what their points are actually showing you. They're just going to do it differently. Now they're just going to get more volume because they've been so efficient. It actually works like this kind of, like where Sean Payton's like, yeah, I'm fine with that Mark Ingram. Alvin Kamara is amazing. So we'll just give him the ball. And it was the same thing with Tyreek Hill, where it was like, why do we think Sammy Watkins is going to come here and take away all of his work when Tyreek Hill is so efficient? So I think it's just a different way of looking at efficiency that I thought really kind of played itself out this week. And of course, they'll both have bad weeks, just like anyone else who is a fantasy player. It just happens. But I felt like that was a very interesting kind of like, confirmation bias thing, I'm sure. But still, I thought it was worth noting. What was something that surprised you that did not make you happy, or that you were like, whoa, this is crazy? I really got to avoid this.
The Chargers defense folding like a cheap house of cards against the Chiefs. Somebody tweeted out to me that if you take away Tyreek Hill's numbers, then look at what the Chargers defense did. I'm like, you can't take away Tyreek Hill's numbers. Listen, I can turn around and I can say, listen, the Miami run defense gave up. If you put back in Derrick Henry's 62-yard rushing touchdown that was called back on a bogus call, that the Miami defense gave up 168 yards, but you can't sit there and say that, if you take out Tyreek Hill's numbers, then the Chargers defense was fine. It wasn't fine. It was far from fine. And if you think that it was fine, well, then you're crazy. It was don't talk to me about how their run defense was so solid, because Kareem Hunt didn't get the freaking ball. I mean, he carried the ball 16 times, but he carried the ball 5 times in the first half. 5. So that's garbage right there, and that's Andy Reid up to his usual bullshit. And so, boom, all of a sudden now the other carries that Kareem Hunt had in the second half didn't matter. It didn't matter. 11 carries in the second half was useless because the clock was just being chewed. And they were like, oh, yeah, okay, let's just give the ball to Kareem Hunt. Like, the fact that Kareem Hunt was like the mop-up guy in that game is insane. So, no, I'm sorry, but the Chargers defense collapsed in a home game.
Yeah, and I'm going to say I was most shocked and saddened by the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, you have to do radio with Jim Bowden, so I'm sure this has been a very emotional week. But
I'm sorry for the bad language. This is not going to be friendly for the kids. I was fucking ecstatic. I was so fucking happy that the Cowboys not only lost, but that they looked like shit.
Horrible.
They looked terrible. And Jim Bowden was, ooh, yes! That was beautiful.
It was, listen, Howard and I have to go, but it's been a rough couple of years for our teams. So I just want to say that this, right now, Howard and I, our home teams, are undefeated as we speak.
I'll see you in the AFC Championship game, Brandon. How about that?
That's right. We'll not Jonathan Mpemba's New England Patriots.
Yes, the voice from above is only allowed to speak unless spoken to.
He's coming in. He's like, no, me, Patriots. You're always undefeated. No one cares.
Right? Hey, Chalky McChalkerson, just stay quiet.
Tom Brady and Bill Belichick are undefeated in week 1. Just kidding, ish. This is the only time we can talk smack to you, Mpemba. The rest of the time, it's all you, and you know it. So, anyway.
Right? Jets have 0 game in comparison to the Patriots.
Yeah. Let's just be honest.
Bill Belichick was our HC for like 40 minutes.
Yeah. But it was a glorious 40 minutes. You guys did really well. Well, thank you, everybody, for joining us. We adore you. Go out there. Go set your lineups. Thursday Night Football starts in 15 minutes. So go get it done, you guys. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.